Okay, so 1 loaf of soap. Gonna go on this tray next to the one that was cut yesterday. I'm gonna set that to the side for now. Okay, so I have to start by batching oils because I'm in actually pretty extreme moment of hope that my second loaf from yesterday will actually turn out as something. Um, I don't think it will, but we'll get to that. For now, since I used all of the oils that I had set up, I'm going to make 2 lots of oil. So this should be moderately satisfying to watch these oils all get poured in here. For me, satisfying that I'll actually have the ingredients for soap. So I'm actually just going to weigh how much of this cocoa butter I have left, which was about 400 grams. So I should have about the same of my other butter. That just gives me an idea of what exactly I'm going to do as far as the number of batches. Oh, I think I'm going to make 4 in here and 4 in the other container. That'll get me pretty far. I am using soap calc. If you're ever interested, this is actually my phone right here. Oop. I'm just going to put, I want 3,800 grams total. Let it calculate it for me. It's great. I'll have just a few grams. So 4 of my batches will take 190 grams of the cocoa butter, which means I can prepare about 8 and then have just a little bit left over. And I'm sure that'll result in some kind of a hodgepodge of soap. More likely, I'll actually just use it to top off my next big order. Right. So I'll start by putting the hard stuff in, like the cocoa butter. sure is not a look for your screen, but these are the containers that I use. Just making sure there's no dust left in that. That's clean, it's just cocoa butter. All right, so container 1, I need 190 in it. There we go. There's 190. Zero out the scale for this one. When I go to use these oils, these containers will actually fit in a melter. So be pretty easy to get these oils to melt down later rather than trying to do it now. Just go ahead and batch it up now. Yeah. Just some scraps of oils left. It's been a rough morning. You'll see soon. All right. So I'm going to zero this out, and I use the same percentage of cocoa butter as I do mango butter. Just wanted to make sure I had something to scrape off my spoon. So it's another 190 grams. Come on, friend. Go. Does it have to be perfect? Yes. Yes. Right. The real reason I've got scrape it out and we're going to use it is that I've got some mango butter that got stuck to the inside of this pouch that it came in. And I couldn't be bothered last time I batched up oils. This time I can. Well, well, those are the only oils that don't get poured in. The rest will just be that extra bit splashy and messy. My hands can really use this after all that painting. Oil on them really help things out. All right, so I'm going to swap to actually making sure my phone's not asleep. And 380 grams each of my next two oils. Almond oil. So be nice to pour. The next one, much thicker, so not quite as easy to pour. Nice. And lucky I needed to take all of these oils off my racks anyway, so I can move my racks back into the studio. So they're off. Means I can move the rack now. Right, next, thicker oil. Go back to this one. It's another 380. I'm starting very ambitiously with the smaller quantities in absolute hope that, I don't know, when I get to the end, there'll actually be space. These are each a little over 4 liter containers, so 3.8 liters worth I'm putting in here ish. We shall see. Right, and this is another 380. This is castor oil, so it's super duper thick. Come on. There we go. Patience. Another 380 in this one. Go. Okay. Done. Done with all those ones. Make sure I didn't leave a bunch of oil dripping off the sides. Perfect. Um, Funny enough, I've got more coconut oil, same container I'm using next to it. Got many containers of coconut oil. Just needed to make sure that this one, actually one that already been opened. I'm actually going to heat this up just a tiny bit so it's easier to scoop out. Gives me time to drink some of this drink that I've got here. I'm finding this coconut oil gave gone peeking on that other batch of soap from yesterday just to see what I might end up with. So it's softer, but it's not liquid. And pretty sure I need a little over a kilo. 1140, which is a lot. Getting a little bit of, there's enough room in this bit stress. Just a little bit more. There we go. Now there we go. Zero that's, come on, friend. Zero that scale out. Another 1140 in here. It'll be probably pretty close to the rest of this bucket. Hopefully not more than. Should be pretty close to just being this. Nice. Done with all of this stuff. Do have just like the most annoying amount left. Well, all right, now it's olive oil. Did peek in on that soap and it looks no better. than the last time I looked at it. Right, come on. Ugh. All right, and last bit is 15-20 of olive oil for each one. This is where we see if I chosen the right container. Oh, yeah, we're going to be great. Perfect. That's 15-21, but no judgment. Right. This is a slightly smaller container, so this one be a lot closer. So this is 8 loaves, 4 in each bucket. Oof. And this one's getting real close, but another good choice. It's fine. Perfect. All right. So soaps, oils will be ready to go for next weekend. I've got a bunch of recycling to sort out from these containers. My hands are well covered in oil, which is nice after spending a week in different gloves or covered in paint and then being scrubbed. Thanks. I also like my chill soap beets. I need them. So last night, yesterday afternoon, I made 2 soaps. This one was the one that went into the mold kind of in chunks. Um, Laundry soap, good laundry soap vibes scent. Um, it went in chunks, and then the fragrance really heated it up while it was in the mold, so I was able to stir it so it's not in chunks. So this one, which I was convinced would be a chunky rebatch fail, I was actually able to give a good quick stir while it was in the mold, and it's come out just completely better than I thought it would. I hope I'm not speaking too soon because it's actually a wee bit soft, but I'm just gonna go ahead and trim off these sharp edges. Get it on this cutter and see what we managed to salvage out of a chunky block of soap. Ooh, that was very easy to cut. But it's gotten real hot because I can see some glycerin inside of it. So I'm not actually going to stamp these. I try to stamp this. Oh, just don't speak too soon. I'm not going to try to stamp or anything with these. I'm just going to give them an day or two. I think I do need to come back and stamp these midweek. What I actually think I'll do is check what I've got on my just in my fragrances that I'm actually wanting to finish making up before like markets all really kick off for summer. And I might just do some test batches because I've had a lot of fragrances just generally not agree with my recipe. I'm changing my recipe. Wow. See if I can do a close up my camera does not agree. We don't have autofocus on, no. But if you'd like to see a close up, you can go and look on my Instagram. Once I've got them labeled, they'll be photographed and put up on there. Plug at Slippery Stitch. So it makes you crave ice cream. It's smells nothing like ice cream. It is so laundry. It's a very, I guess the way to describe it is a very fresh and clean scent. As you can see, it's like super soft still. Towel, wipe my hands off. I'm not going to let's put those ones down. If you ate that, there would be regrets. right, let's see if I can go grab the soap that I had an epic plan for and did not go according to plan. Even though I don't think it's really ready to be cut, I might take a crack at cutting this just because I've got no faith that it's actually going to turn into anything. So this soap was that Lake House Light fragrance that had a lovely gold drop swirl and a blue drop swirl and then a blue and gold swirled top. Looked great, came out great. It was, remember this soap that just became a brick inside the actual the mixing container. So this one, picking it up while it was supposed to be saponifying, it went liquid in the mold, but in a very unexpected way. So this one I've rebatched and actually put an embed in it. We'll see if it's like I knew this was not gonna pan out. Just seeing if I can do anything to rescue it, any salvage possible. So as you can see now, it's just got some weird texture on the top. We're gonna just pet it. We'll just see. It looks not great. Um, I'm just gonna say right now that this soap won't go anywhere. But for funsies, this is soap clay. So this is like soap dough. It's a batch of soap I made probably like 6+ weeks ago, and I put it in a sealed container so it's conified, so this is super safe. If I get this stuck to my hands, like you can see it's sticking to my hands, like it actually would just bubble up and wash off. It's completely saponified, but the water, the moisture, never evaporated out of it. So I've put an embed of this in there, which, you know, just a little sad face that I think I wasted some of my soap clay. But mm, I don't really have much to say about it. So it was 100% not the loaf that I expected to be a failure because it's a bit soft to be extra gentle with it. Woof. And the charcoal, any charcoal soaps, just they can be a bit soft. This one's got plenty of charcoal in it. I might cut it and let it, I don't know, sit. Um, just check and see, do a little bit of testing of its pH. Woof. No, but it's a no, but I'll show you anyway. So it's got a round moon-like embed. You can see like I can just make a mess of it. Now, the hope was to get this pumpkin, really get it to hold itself together. And then, I don't know, use the round embed to make up for the fact that it's now just a lump of not even black, but just kind of gray weirdness. But it's not working. It crumbles up. And then, of course, you've got this embed that is perfectly good soap. So I'll probably just hmm, let's try something. So I know now this soap, it's not lye, it's not overheating, it's nothing but the fragrance oil that makes the soap soft. So, and it's a skin safe fragrance oil. Just doesn't agree with it's either generally no good for cold process or equally likely it doesn't do well with some of these hard oils. So let's try to rebatch it one more time. I'm just going to grab another one of my handy dandy 10 million coconut oil buckets. And we're going to see if this perfectly good soap can hold together this not so good soap. And yeah, I am not even, that's just how that slope play should be. The rest of this, I do think that there's just no coming back with this fragrance oil. And it's not oily at all. It's lathering up and it's bubbly. I do have to wash it off of my hands. It it looks like Oreo, absolutely not Oreo smell. Like that would be great if it was delicious cookie scent, but it's still musky or a patchouli baby powder. Just nice. So I'll heat this up and see if we can't do something with it. But now it's made a mess on my soap cutter. Oh, good times. leave it on everything. I'm actually going to go grab because I can't be fucked. I'm going to go grab a silicone liner rather than using a paper liner. And they're not my favorite, but shrug. All right, here it is. Nice little silicone liner. All right, check that first round of heating. Let's see if it's anything we can work with. While I wait, this starter clean. I can take this thing entirely apart because it's 3D printed in multiple parts and it's not glued together. Do I want to take it apart? Looking absolutely not. Did the mess that I made with this soap on how to make that something that might be required? We shall see. Right, that's the start. Woof. Oh, all right. So here is this. Got little chunks. Oh, Pixie, I absolutely did not get a new spatula. This is a reasonable facsimile, but that is for next weekend. So now I've got enough to make 8 more batches of soap all stacked up right there and ready to go. But when I'm in town this week for work, I absolutely need to get another spatula. But this is that soap that was so promising, and yet not. There's all those white bits from that moon embed turn, only part of the soap left sanding. I'll see if just gently put that in there. Right. So this will have some of those little, it'll actually look a bit like Oreo. So it'll have some of those chunks in it. What I think I'll do, get it back in the mold. This is just going to end up because now it's at a stage where it smells good. If it decides to be soap, cool. Um, it'll just be in the box of house soaps. And if it doesn't decide to be soap, the rest of that fragrance oil will probably go in some candles or diffuser because it is skin safe, but it is not cooperating with. It could be the mango butter, but it's just more likely it didn't like touching that soap with lye. All right. So I don't have any gloves on because the soap is like the lye's already been absorbed. Problem is that fragrance oils ding it up. So at this stage, it's not really something I would use to bathe with, but it's soap-ish. So I'm going to put it in here. I'll probably leave it until next weekend because the worst. Absolutely the worst. But here's hoping that soap dough, which if I hadn't kept it sealed would have been a nice, super hard, unscented chunk of soap, that actually helps this become something. Because I don't have a proper spatula. I get to struggle with this little skinny scraper. I know you can't really see it, but I'm quite convinced that this is just going to do the exact same thing again, which will be fine because if it does, I'll just take this silicone liner, whip it out right into, I don't know, bad if I can do something else with it, but if the oil keeps splitting off, I can't use it for anything. So yeah, I think instead of just I guess it's the way it goes when you skip a couple of steps. When have I ever skipped a step? I buy fragrance oil in a big enough quantity to be able to test like a little tiny sample. And I have been a bit loath to do that lately, just out of, I don't know, it's not overconfidence, it is lack of time. But I might actually just pop on some point this week. If I say I'll do that, perhaps I'll actually do it. So maybe I'll just do a bunch of little soap puts. Oh, finding any other fragrances that I've got just hanging around that I want to try out. See, this is like really becoming like I'm getting very hard pieces that are like this is all soap, but question is if it'll move from this very calm state of soap to be a chunk of or a bunch of grains of soap with oil. Right. It's a bit ugly, but the people in the house that use it, they tend to complain if it's ugly soap. It all does the same thing. And it wouldn't be their first ugly soap. Right. So beautiful gold drop swirl, beautiful blue drop swirl, beautiful swirled top um, is now that. So we shall see if that decides to stay in this state because fragrance while making it soft could just make the soap stay soft forever. I've had that happen more than once. That a fragrance oil just never lets the soap go. I'll probably leave it in there. It doesn't obviously fall apart. I'll leave it like that until I do those new batches. That said, do I? I think so. I'm going to set this aside. Fail. This soap, fucking question mark, fail. It's still too soft to stamp or do anything with. So we're just going to put it over here and come back to that later. But if I'm going to do a bit of fragrance testing, see, I know I have just a bit of this cocoa and mango butter left. Let's see if I've got enough, how much exactly I have, and prep to make a mini batch to test out fragrances. Okay, so I'm just going to use measuring cup. This is my soap dough. Just enjoying having it out. It's gonna turn into just a hard chunk of soap in whatever shape I leave it. So how much of this soap there is left? Right. Well, that about 30, so it's not quite full batch. Math this up. By math this up, like, no, we're just gonna go to the soap calc and change our total oil weight. See if it has the courtesy to let me know when I get in there. So I've got at least a couple of, there we go. Got at least a couple of fragrances that I haven't used that I was hoping to use this summer. And while it's always fun to have a play, we will just be having a play in a much more controlled fashion. Yeah, 30 grams. So now I'm completely out of cocoa butter. I've got just a bit of mango butter, which is very nice. Very nice. All right. Guess I have to go back to using a kitchen spatula. It's not soap, it's just the food grade oil. So I had just this little bit of coconut oil left. If it was enough, might be. Gonna be close. I actually zero out my scale. Oh, gonna be so close. Come on. Gonna be close enough to make me just a bit annoyed at having to open up the other container. If it's close enough, I'll just make it up with the olive oil, which isn't perfect, but these again are just little test bottles. I'm not going to open the other container, especially since it's going to be a month at least until I need to open that up to make more soap. So I've got enough for the next. So making 2 loaves a weekend depends on if I get notified that I can trade in any of the bigger markets. Then it's not enough. But for now, those 8 loaves will be enough. So I'm 13 grams short. So I'll add an extra 13 grams of olive oil. Okay. All right, here we go. And last two. Castor oil and almond oil. And I better put the spatula back in the kitchen before I'm found out. Right. There's 6-day castor oil, which, because it's so thick, such a pain to pour it. All right, so this will be probably just a couple little like pucks. I've got little cavity molds that I'll use these with. I've actually been made this, so I'm gonna faux print this. Print this to my phone. Give myself a nice little PDF. Nice way. I actually don't have to remember exactly how much this is because I'll put this in a, I'll actually this right back in this container. I'll leave that to drain. Just make sure that actually saved. Yep. My little 600-gram batch. That way I know how much lye to use with it. And I can put the lid for this right back on it. Perfect. Well, there's the oil lid back on. Thursday we'll check in on and demon soap, which, well, feels fine. My hands are very shiny because they're covered in oil, but I mean, it's not going liquid or anything weird. Checking on that one and test out a couple fragrances. I've got a blue sugar type, and then there's just a couple of other ones that would probably be quite nice. There's a nice grape one. Replace the grape soaps that I have right now. Fruit Loops one, which is real nice. I haven't used it at all yet. I actually know that one's definitely fine for soap, but fuck, while I'm testing out some of these demon fragrances, I might as well make some tiny little pucks. So I'll whip out one of my little cavity molds. Um, the the funny thing with making this very small amount, which is smaller than this, is that once I mix up the soap, or before I mix up the soap, 5 grams for the big batch. So if I'm making 10 60-gram testers, I have to work out how much fragrance, which it'll end up being just, well, not even, it'll be like 1.5 or something grams. So I have to work out all that per fragrance. I'll probably stream while I do it. Just see how it's going. I actually might be set up in my studio by then, which it actually looks properly like a studio. Um, so we might give it a test run in there and see how that goes. So we'll check back in on these little swirls and see if they're ready to be stamped or how they came out. We'll check in on the black soap and make some pucks on Thursday. So that's questionable time. Well, at some stage. Might also see if I can plan for anything that'll be good using soap clay. So we'll make ourselves a little ball right now, just because I want to see how long this will take to harden up. Been sitting, like I said, in a sealed container for weeks now. Really want to sculpt something entirely out of this a little bit, but I do. Considers all the things that I could be doing right now that aren't this. Making a little Are we Halloween ready yet? There we go. Yeah. You can see, I know it's a huge piece. And I could have made it smaller, but no, it is what it is. So just check in on that and see. So give it 4 days. We'll check back in. Let me see. Well, that ticks off all the soaps. Not really the decisions that I wanted to make. So like US, probably pretty like evening, like probably be pretty like later evening, US time, New Zealand time. So Wednesday evening versus Thursday late afternoon. I'll see if I can't actually avoid any of the difficulties next weekend because I really do need to make sure I've got mm, some new fragrances going out because all of my repeats, all of my standard stuff that I usually have is coming out great. It's this new stuff that I just need to get in there and test some fragrances. So that's it for now. I'm moderately prepared for the week ahead. I'm gonna go take my 3D printer off of my dining table and put it in my studio where it belongs. So wish me luck and see ya.